All right. Live. I think I pushed the buttons correctly. It's good. I think I know how to do that by now, but it's weird. So, welcome to whatever episode I'm on now. I don't know anymore. I'm tired.
I just call it episode number 69. It might be more than that though. I don't know.
It's quite a lot more than that. I'm
Oh,
actually
okay.
pretty close to 169 if anything.
Oh, okay.
So, but we're not quite there yet. Anyway, I never remember the numbers, so we can gotta shout that out and then we can move past it. Anyway, guest, you. Who are you?
I'm DREX.
Ah,
Um, yeah. I've been speedrunning for oh man, let's see here. At least 8 years. I think right around 8 years. Um, my story of getting into speedrunning is kind of funny because I used to be like super duper anti speedrunning. Um,
oh,
So I don't know, like most people my age, I've been on the internet forever. Back in the day, I was a competitive Counter-Strike player. I played Counter-Strike competitively for almost 20 years.
holy shit.
Played at a pretty high level, like lots of leagues, LAN tournaments, all that kind of stuff. I played a lot of FPSs. Like that just used to be like everything I did was as far as gaming went. I played a lot of FPSs. At least like after I guess in my from being a teenager to my like um late 20s, it was all FPSs. Obviously I played like a lot of other video games, consoles and stuff when I was younger. So I grew up a Genesis kid. That was my first console was actually I got a Sega Genesis and a Sega CD.
Mm,
That was the first console I got. That was like my console when I was 5 years old, and my parents thought it was a good idea to get me a Sega CD. Mostly because like my parents were really into gaming. Like I always remember growing up, like they had a NES and a SNES and all that kind of stuff, and they would play games. But when I was five, that was my console. I got that console, and there wasn't a ton of games that I could like really play, especially on Sega CD, because
mm.
Sega CD games like required reading and that kind of thing. Um, so I watched a lot of like my mom playing games or my mom helping me with games and that kind of thing. And I promise this all leads back into speedrunning. Um, so the first like when the Xbox 360 came out, that was when I started like becoming a little bit more casual, like casually gaming, and rediscovering like playing single player games and that kind of thing. Because before, like basically from the time I was like 13 till then, all I played was multiplayer games. Like played World of Warcraft, that was like my side game, and then I played Counter Strike or whatever competitive FPS I was playing at the time. So it was just always something. When a new game would come out, I would try it out, see, try to find a team for it, see what I could do in it. Xbox 360 came out, and I really, really got into Mirror's Edge,
Mm.
to the point where I decided because they had a leaderboard on there, a speedrun leaderboard, and I didn't know anything about speedrunning. I didn't know anything about the community of speedrunning and all that kind of stuff. I was kind of like I worked a lot at the time, so it was like I would play a game when I wasn't working, and I didn't like spend a whole lot of time on the internet during that period of time. But I got super duper into Mirror's Edge to the point where I started doing the individual runs or individual level runs on Xbox 360. And I got the individual number one spot on every single level on Mirror's Edge at one point. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I like this. And then um, somebody came along and used all my strats, but implemented a glitch that I didn't know about because I didn't like know to go find a speedrun forum or anything like that about the game. But this guy used my strats, like my routes, but he implemented the strat where you could like jump and crouch and would like maintain your momentum. So he could just go just a little bit faster than me. And he wound up like actually getting interviewed in Game Informer magazine
Mm.
because of it, and it made me so salty that I never wanted to have anything to do with speedrunning ever again. And
Yeah.
then so fast forward like a few years later, and I got into streaming a lot on Twitch. Like I had casually streamed on Twitch basically. Actually, since before Twitch was a thing, I streamed on Justin TV. Um, and then I got into streaming on Twitch and started building a community and everything. And mostly when I started out streaming, I was playing a lot of PUBG because that was like the thing at the time, when I like really got into streaming. But I have, as you can see behind me, like I've got a ton of games, and I have, you can't see it over here, I have like every console ever.
Mm.
And that's just another thing. Like when I was a kid growing up and everything, stuff didn't like stick around in my house very long. Um, I won't really divulge into all the details of that, but stuff would go missing, consoles would be gone, TV would be gone, whatever. So as an adult, like I really got into collecting all this stuff and having it, and I had done a little bit of casual retro streaming or whatever, but um, one day someone in my chat, one of my mods was asking me like, what's a game from your childhood that you really like or whatever? And I was like, oh, I've been wanting to play it for a while. Actually, it's called Pugsy,
Hmm.
and like, no, nobody knows what Pugsy is. And so I did a casual playthrough of it on stream, and he's like, hey, you know that it's a free world record, right? Nobody has the world record. So that was what started me speedrunning. And I want to say, too, to anybody who thinks there's any such thing as a free world record, there is no such thing as a free world record. It does not matter if no one's ran the game, no one's routed the game or anything like that. There's nothing free about it. It started off basically um, 8 years now of a constant grind, and I don't know. I owe a lot of what I have on Twitch though to that, because I ran that game. I submitted it to speedrun.com. My first time on it was like, I want to say that the first time I submitted was like around 52 minutes or something. It was not polished. There were basically no strats or anything in it. The only thing that really existed for the game prior to me running it was Sonicu Star, who I believe you had on
Hmm.
not too long ago. He did a TAS of Pugsy, and we basically thought that everything in the TAS was impossible to do because it uses a glitch where you can like grab and re-grab an item like one frame later, and it just kind of pushes Pugsy like 1 pixel forward or whatever. So if you're able to do that over and over and over again, you can make Pugsy fly through the sky. So if you want to watch a really cool task, I recommend watching that task because um, what it can do is absolutely wild. One of the coolest tasks I've ever seen. But there was like a few little things here that I learned from the task and everything. But I submitted the run to speedrun.com, and this was back before Twitter was what Twitter is now. You know, I don't
Hmm.
really use Twitter anymore. I don't think most people do. Um, but there was a world record bot, and it tweeted
Oh
out
yeah.
that I set the world record in Pugsy. And some guy named Author Blues followed me on Twitch and Twitter because of that. And I didn't know who Auth was at all at the time. I didn't really know anybody in the speedrunning community at all. And then he raided me one night. Like I was streaming to like, you know, 10 viewers or whatever at the time. I've been lucky enough to where I really never streamed to nobody on Twitch. I've always had like just, like start off with like my real life friends and my wife, and then like people that I've known for a long time on the internet and that kind of thing have always been there and that kind of thing. So I never really streamed to nobody, but I get this raid, and at the time, like getting a raid for 100 people or whatever it was like the wildest thing to me. And he's like, "Oh, hey, I saw you set the world record in Pugsy, and that was a game that I want to speed run or whatever." Um, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, I would definitely be down to like help you learn the route and all that kind of stuff." And then that just started like me and Auth went back and forth on the world record for like 2 years. So this is why I say no world records are free, because eventually somebody else is going to play your game, and then all the work that you've done, they're going to take that work and they have a head start. from where you had. And that's why I think like a lot of people think it's really difficult to get into speedrunning and that kind of thing. I actually don't think it's difficult at all, especially if the game is like well documented and everything, because someone's already done all the work for you. All it is a matter of you learning it and executing it. Um, so yeah, me and Auth went back and forth on the world record for about 2 years. And then one of my friends in real life was like messing around with the game. Like he helped me find a lot of strats in the game. Um, helped me find a lot of strats, and then he wound up taking the world record. And so at one point on the leaderboard, and it might be pretty close to the same right now, there were 3 times in the top 3, and they were all 1 second apart. It
Hmm.
was White Stars, and then me, and then Off. And it sat like that for 5 years, and I had like
Wow.
not really like had disinterest in speedrunning, but kind of around the time that speedrun.com got taken over by whatever company it is that
Hmm.
loaded the website up with ads and everything, I stopped uploading a lot of my or submitting a lot of my times to speedrun.com. So there was like a 5 year period of time where like I would run some other games and then not uh not really try too much at Pugsy. Like I would do like a week of trying to grind for the world record or whatever, and then it just seemed impossible. Like I was just never ever going to get this world record back. Um, and also I had also submitted Pugsy to AGDQ, SGDQ, GDQX, like literally every single year since I started speedrunning. Like every single event, I'd submit it, and I had just all but given up hope on getting it in. And also, I had pretty much given up hope on ever getting the world record back because it just seemed like it was just not going to happen. The game is very like execution heavy, but also like the physics engine and everything in that game, like it's impossible to like really get a grasp on it. And you can think that you've done everything right, and you didn't. And so I would just kept like, I would have a really good run going, like, 30, 40 seconds ahead of world record, and then just something would happen and nothing. Um, so in 2024 for SGDQ, I actually got the game in, and it's funny because like I had every year I would do like this submission video with commentary, and I would write up like a big long thing about, the game and that when I would submit it. SGDQ 2024, I submitted my PB video with no commentary, and for the description, instead of putting anything about the run, I just put it's Pugsy.
Hmm.
That was it. And then somehow I got into SGDQ 2024 with that submission. So it
That makes
was,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. So if you want to know how to get a run into to GDQ, basically once you really don't care about getting a run into GDQ anymore, that's when you'll get it in. Um, so I got to run at that GDQ. I had done a few other marathons. I did 2 other live marathons with Pugsy also. I did the last Calithon that happened. I believe that was 2019. I ran it there, and then I also ran it at a DreamHack as
Hmm.
well. I think maybe it was Calithon 2018, and then DreamHack Dallas in 2019. But obviously, everybody wants to get a run into GDQ, so that's
Hmm.
also my tip for if you want to get into a GDQ, just don't care. Um, be as
Solid.
nonchalant as you can about it. It'll get you in. Um, and then yeah, I've just kind of like between building my community on Twitch and everything. I did finally get the world record back actually like 6 months ago, 9 months ago, whatever it was. I basically had set out like, all right, I got it into a GDQ, but I don't have this world record, and like I normally don't care about world records when it comes to speedrunning, except for with that game. That's the game where like if I don't have the world record in that game, like it's just eating away at me because that's like my game. Um, So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stream Pugsy runs every single day until I get the world record, and it took me like 3 days, and that was it.
Oh, cool.
So basically, once I like really like buckled down and was like, I know I can get this. Yeah, it took me 3 days to get it, and it wasn't even like 3 full days of streaming it or anything like that. I think maybe like a total of 10 hours or something is all it took me to get it back. And now nobody else runs the game anymore. So I submit it to like every online marathon I can and that kind of thing. I did, was it 2 years ago? I did your marathon. I
Yeah,
think
my
it was
one and only marathon I ever
your one and
tried.
only Yeah. I've done it. So I've done it for so many things. The first marathon I ever got it into, Boyks used to run a marathon called Valuethon, which I helped him out with. He was the first person to ever give me a chance to run the game in a marathon. Um, and that also kind of like propelled me into speedrunning. So I've done a lot of other runs. Actually, like I guess October of last year when Megabonk came out, I was like very very into Megabonk because I had started a console challenge. I'm trying to beat every N64 game. I don't just because why not? And then Megabonk came out, and that like took me away from literally everything else for like 3 months. And So I started speedrunning that, and my buddy Peebs, he like found the wildest strat in that game, but it's super duper RNG heavy. So the grind on that game is rough. Like you're doing attempt after attempt where you're getting 5 minutes into the run and having to reset because you don't get what you need or whatever. Um, but somehow I submitted that to AGDQ and they accepted it as a backup run. But I wound up like not being able to go. I had some issues come up and everything. So I was supposed to be at this last AGDQ with that. But unfortunate circumstances took me away from being able to do that. Um, but
Backup
yeah,
gang though. I was
yeah,
there.
um, and it stinks because I feel like if I would have went, I would have got the run in because they got ahead of schedule and everything, and it was like a 15-minute run. And at the time, we had developed I developed a pretty safe backup strategy to be able to finish the game, maybe a little bit over. Well, my estimate I think was like 25 minutes on it. World record is like 9 minutes,
Mm.
so there's like a lot of like leeway in between on that. But then right before, and I knew it was going to happen right before AGDQ, a patch came out, which basically made the strat that everybody uses for the world record in that game, like just not consistent at all. Basically, one of the items that you need went from being like a rare item to the next level up of rarity, so it was much harder to get.
Mm.
So I don't think anybody has set uh, a record in that game in the main category since that update, um, because it just made it that much harder to accomplish. So I don't even know like if the run would have been safe for the marathon at that point. Anyways, so guess I don't know. Everything happens for a reason, right?
I guess.
um,
Usually I think they were trying to like get at you for it or something, but it wasn't even on the schedule, so I guess
yeah,
just unlucky.
yeah, just unlucky. And yeah, we all knew, like we called it. We called that it was gonna happen like right before GDQ. And
Mm.
it wasn't even that like the developer wanted to nerf the item because of the speed run. It was because of what the item was doing in high score runs, and
Mm.
it was making high score runs like really, really unbalanced, but also like super duper reset heavy and everything. And the developer, like I don't know if you know anything about Megabonk, but the developer is like super duper like in touch with the community.
Oh, okay.
So he like pays attention to like all the feedback and everything that people give about the game, to like make balance changes and that kind of thing, and try to make it like not as reset heavy for high score runs because that's typically what people do on that game. Um, and there was like points where people were had found a strat where basically you like fly around for 15 hours and that's how you would get a high score run in that game, and people were streaming like 15 16-hour runs without taking breaks in it. So if
I'm
you think
starting to
speed
see why this happened, actually.
yeah, so
It's
like
making a little more
speed
sense now.
speedrunners are one level of, you know, out there, and then like the high score runners in that game were like another level. Like I could never imagine just doing a 16-hour run of basically just flying around in the sky over that amount of time infinitely to just kill. And like at that point, like usually you're killing like 100 or 200 enemies a second, like if you were not flying around, but they were killing like 5 or 10 enemies every minute to just pack up a million kills or whatever in the game. So it was kind of a bad place for the game to be in, because
Mm.
people who wanted to like casually play the game or whatever, but also be able to set a high score, just couldn't even compete because, you know, they didn't have 16 hours that they could sit down and do a run for. So yeah, that's why the item wound up getting nerfed, and they made some changes and that kind of thing. Um, but it inadvertently completely like screwed the the speed run over. So I haven't really played the game since that patch came out. I liked it when before they patched it.
Yeah. Well, can't have it all, I guess.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like that's my whole. It's kind of my the abridged version of my speedrunning history.
Huh. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. See, so it was back up for this most recent event originally.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, um, yeah, I've done a lot of things.
Hmm.
I've I kind of I like to speed run just like games that not a lot of people speed run. Um, that's like that was like the main reason that really got me into Pugsy, is one because it's just a really neat game with physics and everything, um, and Genesis stuff. I feel like Genesis stuff just doesn't get the amount of love that like Nintendo games get
Oh yeah, it doesn't.
for whatever reason.
It
Well,
has
not
the
for whatever reason.
hardcore fans, but not like
Yeah,
the general fan or whatever. I
yeah,
I have a Genesis. Um, I don't have an EverDrive for it yet because that thing costs a lot of money. But
yeah,
eventually I'll
yeah,
get it set up because
yeah. There's some.
I've ran Sonic 2. I'd like to
Yeah,
do it on actual hardware.
yeah. I've never ran a Sonic game. What else have I ran on Genesis? I ran Bloodlines, Castlevania Bloodlines for a
Mm.
while. That's a really neat game if you like Castlevania stuff. And then also I like I've ran like some bootlegs and that kind of thing. I didn't submit any of them to speedrun.com, but like there's some very interesting bootlegs on the Genesis.
Oh yeah.
Like there's like some Mario bootlegs and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So if you're a Mario fan, you know, maybe you want to get a Genesis EverDrive and speedrun some of that
I
stuff.
mean, something I do want to do is I know there's a really bad. Well, I don't know how bad it is, but it's like a Mario 1 port where it's literally just Mario 1, but like it has Genesis sound. It just
Uh
seems so cursed.
yes, I've played that and
Ah, great.
it is exactly as cursed as you would think. And
Beautiful.
it's weird. It's weird. There's also one that like it starts off like regular Mario, and then like at some point it just completely changes from like Mario levels to like the weirdest like mishmash of stolen assets you have ever seen in your life, like including stuff from like Hammer and Harry, and just like it's weird. And then the game at the end, it just ends. Like there's no like you don't even know that the game is going to end. You just beat this boss and then that's it, the game's over. So there's a lot of weird stuff out there. I speedran also um a a bootleg of the SNES Aladdin for Genesis, and
That's
it's
funny
just
because
called
there's
it's
Genesis
called
Aladdin already.
yeah. There's Genesis Aladdin, but then also there's Aladdin 2, which is a Genesis port of the SNES game, and it
Hmm.
is very janky. Um, the physics and everything don't work properly like they tried, but there's like basically you can like push yourself off the screen um at some point, like if you get ahead of the camera essentially, and you can push yourself off the screen, and then you don't have to deal with like enemies or anything. Like it
Hmm.
just you're just kind of existing off the screen, and then you can finish the levels that way. But yeah, bootlegs are definitely interesting. I used to do like a lot of like retro game requests on Twitch, and
Mm, I see.
so people would make me play a lot of those weird bootlegs and everything. So
Yeah, I've looked into a lot of the bootleg scene, especially like just before speedrunning, just randomly browsing the internet. I remember that was always fascinating history stuff.
yeah, it is definitely weird stuff. Oh, there's a bootleg of Pugsy
Oh,
actually.
okay.
It's Wario Land 3, I think it is. 3. I'm looking this up right now because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing.
This is important
Yeah,
information.
Wario Land 3. And so the bootleg is it's Pugsy, but all they did was sprite swap in the most atrocious looking Wario that you could possibly put into the game. I'm gonna send you this screenshot so that you can see it.
Mm.
Um, that's it right there.
Oh, is it in Discord?
Yeah.
Uh, can I do this without it? Yeah. Oh, yep.
So it's it's
Uh-huh.
it's it's Pugsy, but it's not. It's they just swapped in Wario, and that's the only real change.
Yeah.
And so that's like one thing I've been trying to find a bootleg, like an actual copy of the game, because if you play it like on emulator or you play it any other way, Pugsy has this like really interesting anti-piracy where you can't get past level 5.
Mm.
It basically like changes the physics of the game to where it like almost makes it impossible, but if you are somehow able to get past level 5, it'll pop up a screen that tells you to stop playing the funny version of the game and get the real version of the game or whatever. And
Oh.
the bootleggers didn't even take that out of the bootleg.
Hmm.
So if you try to play it on an emulator or whatever, you'll get that anti-piracy screen inside of the bootleg as well. So
Does it work
there,
on EverDrive or do you get
it
locked out?
it does work on EverDrive. You just have to make sure that you have, because some of the EverDrives don't have like the SRAM or whatever.
Mm.
Um, so if you have like one of the more basic EverDrives, or like not the like official EverDrive.
Mm. Okay.
I don't think that it works on those. You have to have like the X7 or whatever the higher end one is to be able to do it. The one that supports save states as well. I think
Yeah.
you can play it on that, but I don't think that you can play it on the other ones. But it's there are ways to like I know with BizHawk, I think you can disable the SRAM, and you can play that bootleg on there. But I want to get a physical copy of it so that I want to submit that to a GDQ as like something to get into the awful block or something. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I did a commentary for Boix one year. He did a Donkey Kong bootleg. It's like Donkey Kong something over space and time or something is the name
Mm.
of it. It's like a bizarre bootleg, and yeah.
I
So
didn't know they
there
did
is
bootlegs at
that
GDQ.
if you have a physical cart of the game, in some circumstances they will accept it. So
Okay. I
that's why
see.
I've been trying to find one of these Wario Land carts, but every time they pop up, they're super duper expensive. Like just prohibitively expensive, especially for something that would just be a meme run, you know?
Mm. It's funny because I mean, obviously I play fairly popular games, but I've always played on EverDrive at GDQ. So,
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares. It's just more of a thing. Like I
Yeah,
like to not do it on EverDrive, just
that's fair.
because you never know. Like sometimes EverDrives have issues if you don't have like um original everything. Like I know that if you don't have like an original AC adapter for some consoles, can actually mess EverDrives up and make them do
Mm,
weird things and that kind of thing. So
interesting.
just it's usually safer to have an actual cart, even if the cart is a bootleg cart. They
Hmm.
tend to work a little bit better than the EverDrive does.
Well, good to know. Because yeah, I have the console, but I haven't done anything with it yet.
And there's a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah, I know.
There's also
I've never
there's
owned
also a
it.
lot
So.
of bad there's a lot of bad stuff too. I
Yeah.
don't know how much you enjoy playing bad games, but
Uh, I mean, I'm always down to try new things, I guess. But yeah, I've been building my console collection, but I've been doing like the bare minimum, so I haven't been buying stuff to actually like use them. So they just sit and exist. But
yeah, that's kind of been me the past few years too. Like a lot of hobbies, like every hobby that I seem to ever get into, at some point people realize that there's stuff that's worth money in that hobby,
mm-hmm.
and the collectors, and like I would consider myself a collector of things. But like there's people that get into the hobby for just the monetary like investment side of things, which in a way it's good for like preserving things and all that, but like if you look at some like PS2 games and GameCube games and that kind of thing where playing with like there's not you don't really have EverDrives for consoles like that and that kind of thing. So when a game becomes something that people want to collect or whatever, and they start listing it for ridiculous amounts, like Rule of Rose, for instance, on PS2. There's probably people that would love to speedrun that game, but if you want a physical copy of that game, you're gonna shell out like between $900 and $1,500 for it,
Hmm.
and that's becoming like a thing across a lot of retro games, unfortunately. Um, and so that's why I like things like I think like the Mister is like a really cool thing, um, especially for like preservation, and it runs things pretty accurately. So I hope that um, events like GDQ and that kind of thing start being a little more open to using that kind of hardware. Because a lot of like cartridges and are starting to, they're just starting to degrade to the point where they're just not going to work anymore. Um, and CD format games also, like there's Sega CD games and even like some PS2 games and stuff that are becoming pretty what's the word I'm looking for here? They're starting to get disc rot. So like
Mm.
as more of this stuff starts to break too, the price on stuff is just becoming prohibitively expensive for people to get into it. That's like another thing that with speedrunning and everything. I don't run anything on emulator, but like I think having at least separate emulator boards and everything for a lot of games is important. Because the stuff isn't going to work forever. Like you can't expect your regular NES to just last forever.
Yes, I
There's
can.
there. I mean,
It
you can
better.
try your best, but yeah, there's definitely things out there like the analog systems are really cool. Um, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to mess with one of those. I can if I want to live in denial. Yeah.
Exactly. See, hey,
Um,
you can always just
so
replace the parts, right? It's gotta be
yeah,
fine.
yeah, but I even see like the parts for replacing stuff, they're starting to go up in value. Like
Mm.
as more people see like, oh, these things hold value, like it all continues to creep up. Um, so I know that there's like an argument to be made about emulator not being 100% accurate. But I think in general, like um, we should be more accepting of emulator runs and that kind of thing, just for the preservation, and also getting people into the hobby. Like, um, not everybody has access to the hardware and that kind of thing. So that's my one thing I always take a strong stand against, is gatekeeping the community. Like, let people run the game however they can run the game. Get into the hobby.
Hmm.
Speedrunning is a lot of fun. Like, I always tell people, when a lot of people will like are kind of intimidated by speedrunning, right? Like, you see the world records and everything, and you're like, I could never pull that off or anything. And I tell people, like, it's way easier than you think. Like, you just play a video game that you like, set up a timer, and then beat the game. And then the next time you do it, try to do it faster, like improve. Like, you don't need to go out and learn every strat and everything. And that's another reason, like, why I stopped uploading a lot of my times to speedrun.com, is just because, like, speedrunning is more of like a personal challenge for me. Like I said, I was really into competitive FPS games and everything, and like pushing myself further in games. So my approach to speedrunning has always been like a personal challenge versus like trying to beat any specific other person or whatever. Um, and along the way, you learn like a lot of things about yourself. Speedrunning, it's kind of wild to think about it that way, but like, you learn that you can like overcome difficult things, and you can push the boundaries and that kind of thing. um, so that's like my philosophy on speedrunning, is don't worry about the world record, just play the game, and then play it faster, and then play it faster. And then if you enjoy it and you want to stick to it, and you want to learn all the strats and everything, then go watch the world record and reach out to the people in that community and everything. And um, I think that probably in the beginning, I've read stories and I've heard things about back in the day, people would like basically hide strats and keep things secret and that kind of thing to try to hold on to world records. But I feel like the speedrunning community as a whole, more in the past few years, is a lot more open, and they want people to get into it, and they want to see, because you just never know like what someone's gonna find. Like with Pugsy, from my buddy White Stars, he started running it just because he had watched me play it so much, and he's like, oh, maybe I can, figure something out in this game. And like, there's a huge skip in the game, um, that he found, and it was before he even speedran the game or anything. He was just like goofing around with it, because basically there's a level in the game where you have to stack up coins. Like, the intended method is like, there's a chute, and you basically have to like basketball shoot 6 coins into this thing. And when you stack 6, it triggers the a door to open so that you can exit the level. But like, he found a way to basically throw a coin and then re-grab it in the air, and because of the weird physics engine, it like makes Pugsy's arms stretch out an extra pixel. I think it has something to do with like the same thing that I was talking about with the TAS, where it like moves Pugsy forward a pixel. Well, like, basically his body can't move, but like his arms will stretch out that extra pixel, and it re-grabs the coin on the other side of the chute, and then basically Pugsy will just like slowly kind of like inch down until that coin hits the trigger and then opens the door. So instead of having to figure out doing the 6 coins into the thing, you can just re-grab it and do it with 1 coin. Um, and he's also found like other strats that I haven't even implemented into the world record or anything yet, that are just like, they're very difficult, but they're faster. So, new people messing around with the game on emulator or whatever can find all kinds of cool stuff for your game. And I think that, there's been some examples of even casual players just playing through games. I know that there was a big one in Metal Gear Solid 1, I think, where a streamer just randomly found a way to clip through a door on accident. So,
Yeah, there's been a
and
lot of
then,
those kinds of things.
yeah, and like, people just find like the most random thing. I think there was something else that happened recently. I watched a video about it. Oh, the Mega Man X1 like clip through the floor to fight Sigma after like 8 minutes or whatever, just recently got found. And it
Mm.
was like something where people, I guess that because like when you go to fight Sigma or whatever, you go back through the original level but there's a hole in the floor. Well, someone found a way to actually clip down into that hole, using a weapon that like people basically had never used before in the speedrun because it didn't do anything, but they found a way to use that. It was just some person who just casually did tasks or whatever, and it wasn't even like someone who speedruns games or anything. Um, so, but to say that they're not like part of the speedrun community, I guess is kind of a disservice to them because they do task stuff. So I think that kind of stuff is important too, because
I'd
a lot
certainly
of
count it. It has speedrun
a
in the name,
lot
after all.
it does. A lot of cool stuff has been found through tasks. Like I know with like Mario games specifically, everyone's like, oh, you can't match the task, you can't beat the task or whatever. And now like look at Super Mario Bros. 1, where it's just basically task perfect all the way through, which is just, I don't
Almost
know.
9 frames. 9 frames.
Oh, well, sorry. I'm just a casual observer of what goes on in Super Mario Bros. But I actually can't I can't play that game. I don't know. The controls in that game are just, it does feel so weird to me. I have
But
ran a little
Bugsy's
bit of like
fine.
Pugsy's fine. Yeah,
Oh,
Pugsy's
okay,
fine.
okay.
um I've ran Super Mario World 11 exit.
It's a good one.
And then the one Mario game that I have put a ton of time into speedrunning actually is Super Mario 3D World. I ran
Oh,
the longest category in that for a while. 380 stars.
I love 3D
It's
world runs to watch at least.
it's yeah. And so the game, like when it was when we only had the Wii U version of the game, the run was, it was long, but there wasn't like a whole lot of tech. But in the Switch version, they've like completely broken it, and it went from being like a 3.5 hour world record to I think like under 2 hours, because of strats that just people randomly found with it to essentially break the movement in the game, where you can do something like similar to like a strafe jump in like a FPS game, like bunny hopping, and they basically found that in 3D World, and now it's like super duper optimized. And I don't know, it's way too difficult for me to do. I'm getting older and my hands hurt, and I can't do that. So I'll keep those strats for the youngsters.
Yeah, I've
uh,
watched a lot of 3D World any percent a few years ago when it was a
yeah,
little more active, but
yeah, it's
it's so
it's one of
good.
those games. It seems like people come and they'll step away from it and then come back to it. For whatever reason, that's not one of the more popular Mario titles, but I don't know, it's my favorite 3D Mario, if you really consider it a 3D Mario.
Hmm.
A lot of people will make the argument it's not like a true 3D Mario, like something like Odyssey or
Yeah,
Mario
it's not like
64, but
Sandbox, but I mean, it has 3D in the
yeah.
name, so you can't really argue that. But yeah, I mean, no, I love the tech in that game, like clipping in the overworld maps, and I love the mashing
Yeah.
crouch on ice to just
Yeah.
go. That
Yeah,
shit's
you
fun.
really, it's fun, but it's like you look at it and you're like, oh, I could do that. I could hit the crouch button over and over again, and then you try to do it, and it's like so precise, and it also makes your character just move like out of control fast, that it's so difficult to do.
Hmm.
So if you see anybody running that and you see them doing like those ice crouch strats, they're very very difficult.
Oh
Even
yeah.
like there's one level where it can be used where you get like a ski, you can jump in a ski power up and go through a little section or whatever. But if you can like master that crouch boost, you can just completely ignore the item and just shoot across the entire level like in no time at all. Um, yeah, it's a really cool speed run. Definitely one
Yeah.
like I think more people should run for sure. Um,
Yeah. I don't think I've seen any 380 star. I mainly stuck with watching any percent.
380 star is a beast because the hardest, if you've ever played the game like casually, even 380 stars,
Mm-hmm.
the hardest level in the entire run is literally the last level.
Yes,
And
I raged quite a bit at that level on stream, I remember. The bot is gone for a reason.
yeah, that level, and also you have that level, and then you have the toad house.
Mm-hmm.
That's, most of the
Oh,
toad
where
houses
if you
are
like
like,
fuck up 50 in, you have to redo the whole fucking thing.
I believe that, I'm trying to remember here. It's been a while. I think it's 30 stars that you get from that one
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
one level. And if you mess up on any one of those stars, you have to restart. And a lot of times, like, if you mess up, you're gonna lose power-ups and everything. So then you have to go back, get more power-ups, and then go back in and redo them, even if you
Mm-hmm.
collected the stars. It's rough. And then, yeah, Champions Road is like
Yep.
the most difficult level. But once you learn how to like do it, it's a really, really fun level to do. But I can definitely understand like raging on it. And to top it all off, you get to the end of it, and I know, I'm sure you've seen the ending of it where you go through the pipes and it like says thank you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
um you can actually go on top of the pipes and like go across them rather than going through the pipe, but it's like super duper precise jumps, and it's like at a weird camera angle, so it's like really difficult to do. So you can also get all the way through the level and then just fall off the pipe and die there too, if you so a lot of people will just opt for the easier thing to go through it and lose the time there rather than, lose the entire run because of that. But also, like, just in that game in general, like, the levels don't get really hard until you get to the special world.
Mm-hmm.
So like, me and Auth actually used to do like a lot of races in 3D World 380 Star, and it wouldn't be like who's gonna get done faster. It would be who's gonna not tilt out and actually finish the run. So there were many races where Auth would just get like frustrated and just be like, "Okay, I'm done."
Mm-hmm.
Like, so then it was like, "Okay, I'm going really slow right here, and I was behind. I was losing the race, but Auth gave up. So if I can just finish it, then I can say that I won the race." And that's like super duper common in that run, the 380 star run. Like, we used to do, me, Auth, Oglib, and some other people used to do races of that all the time. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, it was whose run is gonna blow up the worst, and like who's gonna just drop out and just like, okay, I'm not finishing, and I'm 5 hours into this run, I don't want to finish now.
Yeah.
And a lot of that would happen like 2.5 hours into the run. Like, then you just hit, there's like a level where you have to use the fire flower to light up all these torches. So if you lose the fire flower, like, you're screwed, you're resetting. And because of like it's another instance where the camera angle is kind of weird, so you have to like know how to aim the fireballs and everything to light these torches up. And that was a big area of reset. And then also early on, there's like one single level where the strat is to plug in a second controller because you need to use a platform. And so you do get, like, you have the cherry power up. So if you have the cherry power up, you have two copies of your character. But like the second copy like doesn't follow you exactly, and it can be like really hard to determine where it's going to go and everything. So the strat became, you plug in a second controller and you drop in the second character to use the platform to collect the star. Uh, and that became like the more consistent strat there. But like, the optimal strat is you just use the cherries, but it's just so hard. And like, sometimes the clone wouldn't jump at the right time and would get hit by a fire bar or whatever, and then you're just resetting. And I seen, like, back when we were doing the races of that a lot, that would be like a big spot where people would just be like, "I'm done because I lost 15 minutes on this level."
Mm.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, all that to be said, it's a cool game and people should play
Yeah, it's
it.
great.
You'll have a great time until you just don't have a great time.
It's honestly one of my favorite casual games.
Yeah, it's really cool. And with the Switch version of it, you can
Oh yeah.
play seamless co-op, which,
Oh yeah.
you can. you can play co-op in a couple of different ways too. You can actually play co-op, or you can just like absolutely screw over whoever's playing with you, throw them off the
Uh-huh.
level, whatever.
Yep. I remember I day one did the co-op with some other people. And all I remember doing is we got to the ice level and I made them all die because I did the crouch
Oh,
speed.
and
I
you got so
was
far
like, "Hey
ahead that they
guys,
just
check this out." We
yeah, I love that game. Now I want to play that game. Great.
Yeah. I still haven't played Bowser's Fury though.
I'm like really I really wanted to like Bowser's Fury, but it's kind of weird because one, it's completely different from the main game. Like
Hmm.
it's more like Odyssey. Like it's one big Odyssey level, but in the 3D World engine, so it just doesn't quite feel right to me. But a lot of people like it. I feel like I'm kind of the one person who doesn't like it out of everybody I know that like runs the game, plays the game, and that kind of thing. I was the one who didn't like Bowser's Fury, so you'll probably enjoy Bowser's Fury.
Yep. I'll get to it someday, maybe. I'm really good at, you know, doing things.
Oh yeah, it's a problem I have too. There's so many games that I've abandoned playthroughs, like just almost at the end of the game, and then I just was like, I'm done with this. I'm not having a good time, or like I need to get back to something else, or I need to get back to
Hmm.
doing some Pugsy runs or whatever. And then the next thing you know, I'm like a week and a half removed from the game, and I'm like, well, I can't just go back and finish it. Like
Hmm.
I don't know, I put like 40 hours into Blue Dragon on the Xbox 360 and got to the last part of the game and then just never went back to it. I got like probably 30 hours into Tunic and never went back to it. Majora's Mask, I think I had like 2 dungeons left or something and never went back to it. And that's just
The
the story of
classic.
my, yeah, just
It
the
doesn't help
the
that I'm a
80.
completionist. So,
Yeah.
and so I spend longer on a game and eventually I will get burnt out and then
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just never want to go
My
back to it.
my issue is that I have no attention span. So like if something else grabs my attention, like that's what happened with with Megabonk. Like I started this N64 challenge and like I got so into Megabonk that I just like completely I didn't do anything else for like 3 months straight.
Hmm.
It was like every stream, every moment I had that I could play the game, I was like just completely invested in pushing that game as far as I could. Um,
Yeah. I know you've
and
talked a lot
then
about Mega Bonk, but I actually just don't know what that is at all.
Oh, so are you familiar with Vampire Survivors?
Oh yeah, okay.
Are you familiar with Risk of Rain 2?
Uh no.
Okay.
I,
So just imagine if you took Vampire Survivors and translated it to a very janky 3D game.
hmm.
So it's if you were familiar with Risk of Rain 2, it's like Vampire Survivors meets Risk of Rain. Um, and then the developer of the game like doesn't take himself very seriously, so it's like just a bunch of silly like weapons and power-ups and everything that you can
I feel
get.
like I may have seen this before because the concept
Um,
sounds familiar,
yeah.
but
It's but basically it's a 3D Vampire Survivor like. It's got some movement tech and that kind of thing in it, which it's like a very satisfying game to play.
mhm.
Um, and I think even since I've like stopped running it, they've added in like if you slide, you get like a speed boost and that kind of thing. So they've added some stuff that actually has made the speed run possibly a little bit quicker and that kind of thing. But basically, your goal is to beat the final boss, which you have to go through 3 levels to get to the final boss. Um, and so you just basically have to find the right items to be able to kill the boss really quickly. Like the boss, you're probably not expected to beat the boss as quick as the speedrun does. Like I said, the world record is like 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, and the boss has like 7 million health, I want to say. And
Mm.
if you were to just like go through the levels and not do like the speed run, get the speed run build of items, you're dealing like 100 damage per hit. So you can just imagine how long it would take to kill something with 7 million health.
About as
And
long as the
basically
high
the
score run.
yeah, so and so the speed run strat uses something that like is not used in high score runs at all, which is you collect an item that it's a cactus. You collect a cactus, and what the cactus does is when you take damage, it shoots out thorns. So if you stack your thorns stat, it will shoot out thorns essentially from the cactus, right, from your character, to deal damage. And so what you do in the speed run is you get the cactuses, as many of them as you can get, and then you get an item called the spiky shield, which it scales your thorns based on your armor. Which there's tomes in the game, so you could get like a thorns tome, but the way that it scales, it's actually slower than if you were to get this spiky shield item with the armor tome. So you take the armor tome, you get the spiky shield, and then you need an item called Kevin, which that's the item that got nerfed and got increased in difficult or rarity. And what Kevin does is every time that you attack, there's a 25% chance that Kevin will attack you for 1 damage. Can't kill you, but it deals 1 damage. So you would get the Kevin to then shoot out the thorns, and because of the way that the like projectiles and everything work, instead of like throwing out like one thorn or whatever, it throws out like thousands of thorns. So you
Mm.
can then kill the 7 million health boss at a super duper low level because of the amount of thorns that you're throwing out. Which that's what like made the speed run like super duper interesting to me. And I take no credit in that strat. Peebs like found everything in that just completely on accident. Another case of someone completely on accident finding a super duper viable speedrun strat for a game. Um, so yeah, it took like before that the strat was there's a weapon that you can start with that has a chance to execute, and you were basically stacking your quantity, and because it's like an auto attack game, like you're not actually pressing anything to attack. The weapons just go off in an interval, similar to Vampire Survivors. So you would use the item that has a chance to execute. Um, which it basically against normal enemies would just kill the enemy right away, but against bosses, it would just deal like 1% damage or something. So you would stack and get that. So the world record went from like 20 minutes to all the way down to 9 minutes once the new strat was found because it was just so much more consistent than having the execute weapon as your main thing. But like it's also a super duper volatile run, not just because like you have to get the right items and everything, and it's completely RNG. Um, but also the Kevin item can attack you all the way down to 1 health, so you're just running around with 1 health the entire time. Like you cannot get hit, and it's a game where just you're getting endless waves of monsters that are spawning at you and everything. And then the last boss, even though it's only one boss, you're still getting hit down to pretty low health depending on what your build is. And obviously, the lower level that you go in, the less like utility you have to work with. So you may not have a ton of life steal or whatever. You can get to the point where you get enough life steal to like offset um, the damage that is incoming. But yeah, the last boss shoots out these orbs, and one of the orbs, if you get hit by it, it turns off your life steal, so you can't life steal anymore. And the whole strategy against the last boss, because you want all these thorns to hit it, is that you basically just want to hug the boss. Like you just get directly on top of the boss, and if the boss touches you, it deals damage to you. So it's like you have to stay like a very short distance away from the boss, but be close enough to where your projectiles are triggering and everything. So it's a very very volatile run is the best way to explain it. Not marathon safe or anything in any means. I did do an online marathon run of it, and my estimate for it was 25 minutes, and I went over the estimate by like 10 minutes because I just did not get the items that I needed. So I had to like literally grind and level up to the point where I could go and fight the boss
Mm.
because I just didn't get anything that I needed. So there is a way to do now. There is a way to do seeded runs, which wasn't possible before. So you can make sure that you will get the items that you need, but um, I don't know, seeded runs and in general just aren't something that appeal to me in a game like that. Very similar to like something like Enter the Gungeon or whatever. Um, I know that that was at at a GDQ once, and I think that it wound up getting mercy killed because just it wasn't going right. So
Well, I can tell you're definitely into that game. I,
I was into that game. I haven't touched it in months now, but it's a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, just speedrunning in general is like just something that kind of comes and goes for me. So like with GDQ submissions and everything coming up soon, I'm thinking about doing a Pugsy category that I haven't touched in like probably 6 years, 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. The last time I submitted a 100% run on it. So that's probably like the next project that I'm gonna work on because my time in it was like 45 minutes or something, and it can definitely be improved. But it's probably a little bit more difficult to get the same category into a marathon again so soon. Like,
mhm.
but maybe if I submit 100% 2 years later, maybe they'll want to take it or whatever.
uh, what are the like differences between the categories in that game?
So if you're not familiar with Pugsy, I mean the backstory to Pugsy is that it was originally being developed for the Amiga,
Oh,
and the developer of it is Traveler's Tales, which
mm-hmm.
um, they did a lot of the earlier Lego games. Um, but even before that, they did like Toy Story and some of Sonic R, I believe they worked on.
3D Blast.
But 3D Blast. So they were originally like Amiga developers though, and
Hmm.
like the demo scene, like that's what they all came from like the demo scene. So Pugsy was like this random demo scene character that someone made, and basically Traveler's Tales like wanted to make it their mascot. So Pugsy is another failed mascot platformer,
We love
technically.
to see it.
um, and so the any percent run is pretty straightforward. You're just doing like the levels basically that you need to do to get to the bosses and everything. So there's a little bit of gimmicks here and there. The 100% run has a bunch of levels that are like basically tech demos of like other things. So there's like a level where Pugsy is in like a UFO, and you're basically doing like a Flappy Bird type of thing
Hmm.
with Pugsy. And there's another level where it's like a breakout clone where you have to like bounce a ball back and forth to break blocks to exit the level. So there's just a lot of like really weird levels that don't really serve a purpose. Some of the levels you literally don't have to do anything. You can just like literally walk into the level and then just ignore everything that's going on in there and just walk out. Like they're basically levels for like power ups or just to show off this certain like thing that they can do with the physics engine and that kind of thing.
Oh,
There's a level where um you have to take or you can take certain blocks like that spell stuff out of the level. So like one of the funny things that you can do in that level is you can pick up the letters that spell green, and you can walk out of it, and then it swaps all of the orange colors in the game to green. So like it completely does like a palette swap on everything. And then also if you do that, Pugsy takes no damage at all. So there's that. I've also thought about making like a category where you go in and you spell green and then you complete the game that way as Green Pugsy, which also changes like a lot of the sprites to green, and it just looks atrocious. But yeah, really the main difference is just the number of levels. I want to say that there's like an extra 30 levels or so
Jesus.
in the 100%. But a lot of them are just kind of like throwaway levels, or there's levels that there's no real quick way to do them, like or at least that I've found. But it's kind of been like minimally explored. But there's like a level where you have to like stack up like 15 apples or whatever to be able to make it up to a ledge to jump over and complete the level. And the physics engine in that game is really finicky, so like you can sometimes like start stacking the apples, and then just for no reason one of the apples will just start to like wiggle around, and then your whole stack of apples falls over, and then you can't get out of the level because
Hmm.
you have to rebuild your stack. um yeah, there's just like a lot of weird levels like that. There's also a junior percent run as well. They made basically like a short mode of the game that's only 5 levels long that like any child could do,
Hmm.
which is also it's kind of funny. The world record in the junior mode is like a minute 29 or something. So it takes no time at all, but it's like at this point it's like super duper optimized. There's like really no way to go faster in it. Um, but yeah, it's definitely it's an interesting game. I would say like if I've ever been passionate about one game ever, it's that game that you know after all these years I just keep going back to it and trying to find new ways to play it and enjoy it and that kind of thing. So there, and then there's also I haven't even touched the Sega CD version of the game, which
Oh my
has
gosh.
has extra bosses in it, including an FMV boss, if you can believe it. Pugsy fights an FMV, which is just
Huh.
so weird.
I'm not
Like,
surprised at this point, given what I've heard, but
yeah, they really tried to do something. Like they thought they were absolutely cooking with the game, and in a lot of ways they were. Like if you looked at the game and you didn't know that it was on Genesis, you would think it was like a more modern retro, like a retro inspired game.
mm,
But they did a lot of things in that game that were very interesting and everything, as far as the physics go and how like actually how robust the physics engine is, because not only do like uh, the game has this thing that they touted and they even trademarked it in their instruction manual called total object interaction. So every single item that you see in the game can be interacted with in one way or another. But also all those objects can interact with one another as well. And they all do weird things, like they have different weights and some of them are more slippery than others and like just different properties. And there's like balloons that you can use an action button on, and you can blow the balloon up and then the balloon will float, and there's just like all kinds of stuff like that. So um, it's definitely a game where like I think if more people got into it, there would be more things that could be discovered in it. And like I don't know, it's just really hard to find everything in a game when you're the only person running it. Like I said, like my buddy started playing the game for a couple of months and found all kinds of stuff in it. So like there's probably a whole Pandora's box of things that could still be discovered in that game.
that was impressive.
Yeah, that moth came out of nowhere. Never have a bird. If
Ah,
you don't like moths, never have a bird,
oh,
because every bird seed you can ever buy will just come preloaded with moths, apparently.
that's some lore I didn't know. But I've also never owned a bird or ever thought about it, so I guess that's probably why.
That's a good choice. Never own a bird. They will
Yeah.
outlive you. They will live forever,
Hmm.
and then you'll just have a bird forever. And then you'll probably have a bird that you have to give to like your family or whatever when you're gone.
All right. Well, I'll I'll keep living life the way I am, I guess.
Bird free.
Bird free. Anyway, yeah, obviously I I've seen the game a little bit. Obviously, you ran it at my thing and I was there. I witnessed it. Not to say I understood fully what I was looking at. I think that was
Uh,
part of the charm. It's like, what the hell is this? But
yeah, that was definitely like that's a big like thing that I always try to tell people like when I submit the game to their marathon. And like if you're trying to um, drive some engagement, Pugsy can drive some engagement because not everybody has seen the game. As I feel like every time that I run the game, there's like a whole new audience that's seeing the game for the first time or whatever, and the first thing that they think is like, "What in the heck am I looking at?" So like one of the best things, and I did it at when I did it at SGDQ, I was just like, throw in your donations with what you think Pugsy is.
Yeah, yeah.
And like obviously with the GDQ, you know, you have some you can't really take all the suggestions that you get. You have
Mm.
to like tone them back a little bit. You got to make them PG-13. But man, I've heard some wild things that people think Pugsy is.
I thought they'd be like, oh, it's an orb or it's from Germany. You know,
Um, Richard Nixon mask that was filled with tapioca and left out in the sun too long. Or the
fascinating.
one that, or off said that it was I believe he said it was a balloon filled with squirrel blood that came to life. So there's just been all
Aha.
kinds of, there's just always, I used to have a channel in my Discord, which we were trying to compilate like all of the things that Pugsy was. Maybe, do I still have it?
Is there a definitive answer?
Oh, yeah. So they
Oh, okay.
actually, there, if you watch my SGDQ run of the game, there's actually like deep lore in
Mm,
Pugsy, and there is in the instruction manual there is like a whole lore dump of like everything, and so Pugsy is just he's a space hopper alien. I guess they were popular in the early '90s,
hmm.
um, and yeah, so that was the mascot that they tried to run with, and like it completely outlines like why Pugsy is in space, flying around and everything, what he is, what he's up to, how he winds up on this planet and everything. So during my SDQ run, one of my commentators actually read that whole intro out before we started the run, which
Mm.
was a really nice touch to it. So people got like a good introduction to the Pugsy lore immediately.
But yeah, but just
But yeah,
calling
he's
him an alien's not
the
good enough. I
it,
understand
it's
people want to know.
yeah, it's boring. Exactly. People do want to know what exactly is Pugsy. Um, so I always say that it's more fun to just make things up about what Pugsy is, rather than just take the obvious answer that he's just an alien.
I love lying on the internet.
I mean, no one can prove that you were lying, right?
I guess not. I mean, who the hell is looking at Pugsy lore?
Nobody. That's what makes it so fun to run.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody
I
knows.
see the appeal. It is just a thing that exists, and sometimes that's all you need.
It's definitely a game that too, like a lot of people will play it and just think it's a bad game because they don't quite understand how to play it. I'm not saying that it's the greatest game that's ever been created or anything like that, but it's not a bad game. But I have been able to fool people into accepting it into like Big Bad Gameathon or whatever,
Mm,
to where you just look at it and you're just like, yeah, this has to be bad. And then after I do the run and everything, they're like, this game doesn't belong. It's not bad.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, go try to play it casually and then tell me it's not bad. And then people will play it and they're like, oh yeah, now never mind, I understand now.
Mm,
Because it's one of those things where like I've played it so much that it looks easy. And then every single person who's ever like tried to play it casually has told me I don't understand how you even play this game, let alone go fast at it, because it's just it feels like you have no control over anything that's going on. So
mm.
that's what happens when you put hundreds and hundreds of hours into a video game.
And Pugsy of all of them, it's a choice,
It's a choice I made. But like
but
I
it's
said,
worked out.
if I didn't start playing Pugsy, I would have never probably gotten like really into speedrunning, and I would have never met like half of the friends that I've made on Twitch and everything. So it,
Yeah,
you know, that's how life works, right?
life works in mysterious ways,
You do
much like
weird
Pugsy.
things, and you exactly you do weird things, and they send you down weird paths, and then they wind up working out. So,
Hmm. Um, have you run any more conventional games or not?
more conventional games. Well, like I said, I ran Castlevania Bloodlines for a while. I ran Aladdin on the SNES for a while. Actually, me and
Not
Off did
bootleg.
a not bootleg, the
All right.
regular SNES. Off and I did a race of that at the last Calithon also. So I actually had two
Oh,
runs in that marathon. Um, which was great because my controller broke in the middle of the race, and so
awesome.
I couldn't go fast because my like in that game, if you're familiar with that game, there's
I'm not.
like the okay. So in that game, the big tech in that game is that you get a like it's like a blanket or whatever that Aladdin can turn into a parachute,
Mm.
and you use the R button on the controller, and basically every time that you hit it, um, you move forward 1 pixel.
A lot of
So you
games
can,
with moving forward 1 pixel.
yeah, I'm starting to notice that too. So you can mash it like as fast as you possibly can. As fast as you can mash it, you can go that much faster. And yeah, so like in the middle of the race, I was winning, and then my R button broke.
Mm.
And so I just couldn't mash it anymore. It was like only reading every other input or whatever. So it wound up being very slow, but I finished the run despite having that issue. So that's probably a more conventional game I've ran. I another like really early game that I ran was Gunman Clive, which is kind of like a um, Mega Man inspired Western shooter.
Hmm.
I ran that for a while. I ran Monster in My Pocket on NES for a while
Hmm.
as well.
I've heard some
Um, th-
things.
yeah, it's a video game.
Hmm.
It's not bad. It's a pretty cool game. It's a very tough run though.
It's
Um,
certainly got one of the names of all time. I'll give it that.
well, Monster in My Pocket was like this little. It was a toy brand
Yeah.
actually, and there was all
I
these
have
little
heard the
toys.
lore, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, definitely people the name can yeah. I mean, I ran Hyperstone Heist, which is the Genesis reuse of assets from Turtles in Time.
Hmm.
But it's not the same game at all. It's similar. I ran that for a while. That was pretty conventional. SM SMW. I've never submitted a run on it, but I did 11 exit glitchless for a while as well. And then I also decided that running Kaizo Mario Hacks was a good idea too. So I ran
Oh,
both the
great.
quickie worlds as well. Um, I don't have like super duper competitive times, but I think being able to do any Kaizo hack quickly is kind of impressive.
Yeah, I
Um,
certainly would never want to put myself through Kaizo
yeah,
of that
yeah,
extent.
yeah. It's I don't know. I really enjoy like playing harder games, so it's kind of weird because like when I play games casually, like sometimes it can tilt me out or whatever. But when I play Kaizo Mario, like it doesn't make me mad at all because I
Mm.
just feel like I'm expected to just die over and over again. And I've seen like people take like 10 or 12 hours on a single level, so I'm just like, oh, if I can beat it faster than that, then I'm doing okay, I guess. Um, but it's a unique set of skills, and it's a lot of stress on your hands and that kind of thing. I got tricked into running Super Smash TV once
Mm.
for a tournament, um, and I would say that's probably the least fun I've ever had speedrunning any game.
Oh, okay.
Um, because it's just complete RNG as well, and I don't know, I just it didn't really vibe with me. But I played it for a little bit. Um, what else? What else have I ran?
You do have quite the list.
It's a weird list too.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah. Violent Storm. That's a really beat 'em up game. It's one of the beat 'em ups of all time. Um, I ran that with the Boyks. We did a co-op run of that. We had the world record for a long time, and then people came along and beat it because they were able to play in person. We were playing like over net play, and it like would desync in the middle of runs and stuff. It was pretty fun.
Ah,
Spartan X2 I ran, and I don't even remember running that. Um, but that's like a weird beat 'em up. Pet the Pup at the Party I apparently ran. Um,
okay.
I pet 10 pups in 5 minutes.
Well done.
Duh.
Impressive.
And then yeah, 3D World. Actually, and it's funny because I didn't ever submit. I have like a way faster time in 3D World. I have like a sub 4 in the Wii U version of the game, and then a little bit like 3.5 hours on the Switch version of the game. Because the Switch version of the game removed basically the load time and like the cutscene. There was an unskippable cutscene before, and you can skip it now, so that's kind of nice.
Mm.
Um, and then I have like this never ending list of like, oh, I want to speed run this game, and then I just never I'll start routing it out or do a couple runs of it or whatever, and then just not go back to it. Um, and then I see new games and I'm like, oh, I really want to run that. So just it never ends. That's like the
Yeah.
dilemma of trying to be a speedrunner, but also at the same time like trying not to like make everything I do speedrunning. Um, but then sometimes a game comes along and it just like completely pulls you in. Like I mentioned Vampire Survivors earlier. They're actually making like there's a dungeon crawler coming out called Vampire Crawler, and it's basically the same mechanics as Vampire Survivor, but put into a dungeon crawler instead. And I feel like I'm gonna end up speedrunning that too. Um, and then I do want to I want to get into 96 exit on SMW.
Mm.
But every time that I like start to learn the run, I'll get a little bit further into learning it, and then I get to a level where I'm just like, nope, this sucks. I don't want to learn this strat, and then I just walk away from it. So
I see.
most mostly like the Star World levels in that game are pretty rough as far as speedrun strats go. Especially since like it's so optimized and everything at this point, like to where you have to do certain glitches and that kind of thing. And I tend to like more of like the glitchless runs. Um, just tends to be the things that I gravitate towards more is more of the glitchless stuff. So anytime a glitch is like discovered in a game, I kind of am like, oh, never mind, I don't want to run this anymore.
Okay. Are there glitches in Pugsy that you use?
There's not really any glitches in that game. We
All
like
right.
we have tried everything because there are so many spots where like if we could find a way to clip through a door or clip through a wall or anything like that, like it could make the run a lot quicker. And there's just they coded that game very very well.
Hmm.
Um to where there isn't any of that. I have never in 8 years of messing with the game found any kind of way to do anything that would like push you out of bounds and I've tried every imaginable setup that you can think of to do something like that, and just it seems impenetrable. So if anybody out there is watching this and they think that they are the best glitch finder there is, try to find some glitches in Pugsy. I would love to see I would love to see something be found in that game, but I feel like at this point, like there just isn't anything out there.
Hmm. Well, a lot of games were spoken about of varying levels of quality.
Yeah.
So, did you name everything you want to try and do in the future?
Oh geez, what do I want to try? I want to run an FPS game.
Mm.
Just because I played competitive FPSs for so long. So like I'm good at aiming. Um, so there's probably like Titanfall 2 is probably the first game that comes to mind that maybe I'd want to learn that run because it's a super duper cool run. There's a lot of cool movement. I tend to like stuff with movement tech also. Like just being able to optimize movement is really fun. And then obviously being good at aiming naturally like could help in something like that. Maybe like something like Half-Life or a Quake game or something maybe in the future. Just one of those things though where like I sit down, I play the game casually or whatever, and then like something distracts me, and it's like very very hard to like just lock in and actually learn a run. Um, but yeah, I will probably try to learn some kind of FPS. It might take me finding like something silly and weird and non-conventional to get me to actually want to run it though.
Hmm. Well, but that's it.
Yeah.
Not to say you haven't already built quite the backlog anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I have like 5 different spreadsheets of backlog stuff, like,
Ah, great.
and
Yes.
and
Very good.
then also trying to work on beating every N64 game along the way.
Ah,
And
true.
I think also, like, through this journey of playing every N64 game, there's probably going to be something in there that I'm going to want to speed run. Actually, I mean, I've considered running Mischief Makers in the past,
Ah,
um, which that's a very tough run, like super duper execution heavy, pretty optimized run. But I just never know. Like, there's just so many video games. Like, how can you? When I see someone who just like you run mostly Mario stuff, and I'm like, how can you just limit yourself to Mario? It makes no sense to me.
I've played other things, kind of. I mean,
But I guess when, like, with how optimized Mario is, I can see like why grinding something like that though also would be very appealing, because you have like a realistic, like, this is the fastest it can be, how can I get there kind of thing. And with some other games, like, there's just not that, so you just never know.
yeah,
There's no end in sight in them.
I really don't
But
know
I,
what
I
speaks to me in terms of speedrunning. I know movement is a big thing. Like
yeah,
usually it's platformers, and I mean Mario fits that bill pretty well, and then for nostalgic reasons, Mario fits it pretty well. Um,
yeah.
I don't really branch out above that genre, and like it has to have nostalgia. That's pretty much everything I've ever ran. Give
Yeah.
or take some
I,
stuff.
I think that my biggest problem, and like what makes it difficult for me to find something to speedrun, is that I like so many different types of games. Like,
Mhm.
I just like playing everything.
I'll
Like,
casually
some
play other
people,
stuff, but
yeah.
I rarely will like play something new and be like, I want to speed run that. I don't really get that. Like for me, it's like nostalgic platformers.
Hmm. Yeah. For me, it's kind of the opposite. Every time I play something, like, I have that speedrunner brain rot or whatever, and
Hmm.
I'm just like, oh, how could I speedrun this? Like, what would the speedrun of this be like? What could I do in this? What kind of tech is there? So then it just becomes like, I have this giant list of all these things that maybe I do want to speedrun, but then instead of doing any of them, I just do none of them.
Fair.
And that's why, like, I always go back to Pugsy, because it's just that's probably like my nostalgic game, you know.
Hmm.
My I remember when I was a kid and I got the game, my mom helping me play the game and everything. So it's like a good memory there. And then also, like, just everything that happened on Twitch for me with around that game, kind of like, it's a good thing to think about, good memories and that kind of thing. So I think that's probably why I go back to that game frequently, as far as like submitting for marathons and that kind of thing. But I really do like doing marathons and raising money for charity and that kind of thing. And so I think, like, at some point I will have to like branch out, and I will have to find something new to submit at some point. So I don't know. I don't know where my speedrunning journey leads me to next.
Hmm.
It will just take a special game to come along. It might be a new game, might be an old game. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
I I try not to like limit myself to one thing. Um, I mean, there's been stuff like A Hat in Time. That's probably another game that
Mm.
I'll probably run at some point. Now that I'm thinking about, like, what have I thought about running in the past? Hat in Time is really cool if you like 3D platformers. Hat in Time kind of does everything that Super Mario Sunshine should have done,
Mm.
and present it in a more approachable format. I don't know. I
Are you a
like.
sunshine hater?
Don't get me started.
I was
Um,
gonna say based.
so Sunshine. like I saw speedruns of it before I ever played the game. For whatever
Mhm.
reason, like a lot of GameCube games, I just kind of missed out on. I never played them.
Same, yeah.
So the first time I played Sunshine was probably like 6 or 7 years ago. I played
Same.
it all the way
Something.
through, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I
Hmm.
didn't like the camera in it. I didn't like the movement in it. Like it just felt so clunky, and I did not enjoy my time with it. But then I watched speed runs of it, and I'm like, holy shit, you can move fast in this game. There's all this stuff you can do. It looks really cool and looks like it would be really fun to learn, but I just don't like the game at all, so I don't want
Yeah.
to learn how to do any of it.
I basically
So
have the exact same thoughts about it where
I like I love watching people who are good at that game play that game, but I don't want to play it. Just
yeah,
no.
I played it for the first time a few years ago and I beat it, but I was like, man, this game is bad.
Yeah, and people are like it's their hill to die on that it's the greatest Mario game of all time, and I'm just like
Nostalgia
of all
bias.
the of all the hills to die on, it's this Sunshine, really. Um,
Yeah.
I did want to learn Odyssey at one point. I did like Odyssey a lot. Uh,
I have done an Odyssey run. I did a 12-hour challenge for it.
my problem with Odyssey is that it is so long. There's just so much,
It's
and
funny because
I like
Sunshine's longer
yeah.
for the any percent.
Well, well, as you can see with like the only category of 3D World I've ever ran was 380 star.
Ah, well, I see.
I like to do the full give me everything. So like
Well,
what is
have fun with that. Yeah, that's a little
it's like a
different.
12 it's like a 12-hour run on Odyssey, right?
It's like seven something. Well, world record levels, like seven something. All moons.
All moons. Yeah, 7 hours?
Something like that.
That doesn't Oh, well that doesn't seem too bad.
I think it
100%.
sounds too bad.
100%, yeah. All moons is 7. When I so darker side, I think when I was like watching darker side runs, they were taking in the like 6 hour, 7 hour range.
Really,
But
darker
that
side's
was a
like 3 hours, isn't it?
it is now. It
Wow,
wasn't back when I was like watching those runs.
that's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
like it's under 3 hours now. So that's pretty optimized. I also really liked what I saw of the new Donkey Kong game
Oh
as
yeah.
well. But that has been more of like a can I really pay $70 for a new game?
Hey,
And Nintendo just never put stuff on sale. Like
yeah. Hey, when it finally is in 5 years, it can be all over the speed run.
exactly. It'll be really optimized by then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't kept up with it. I haven't played the game either, but I know it reached sub-hour.
Oh,
It,
really?
yeah. I mean, it's basically just Odyssey again, almost exactly, which is funny. I'm pretty sure it's the same development team, at least for the most part. So it's just kind of funny that is it's
Oh
worked
yeah.
out almost the same way.
The true ending on that is under 4 hours. Maybe that's what I'm gonna tackle next. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
That seems kind of appealing.
All
But
right.
it is basically Odyssey with Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
You're right.
I I've heard it was pretty much the same development team. Like,
Okay.
so hopefully I'm not spewing misinformation, but
Well,
it
and then
definitely looks like Odyssey 2 in some ways.
I think at one point too I want to run Metroid Dread.
Ah, yes.
So and again this comes back to my problem is that like I enjoy so many different games,
Hmm.
so many different genres and everything. It's just really hard to like what do I feel like I want to dedicate the next few months of my life to? Like, what am I willing to do? I have to have a good time with the game and everything. And sometimes, like, you have a really good time playing a game casually, and then you try to start learning the speedrun strats, and you're just like, nope, never mind. This is
Hmm.
not fun at all.
Yeah. Well, you have quite the to-do list.
And I'll
I'm
probably
quite
do none of
surprised.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll probably
fair.
do none of it.
It's nice to have like ideas jotted down though.
Yeah,
because burnout is very easy, as I'm currently in and have been in for months. But
yeah, I definitely understand that.
uh, yeah, I mean, it's nice to have backup plans because I don't know, you can always just start from scratch in anything new. Like you can speedrun forever and never get bored, really. Just find a new game.
Let's find a new game.
There are enough games to keep you occupied for a while, it
You
turns
know,
out.
I always say this is the problem is there's too many games,
There are too
and
many.
I think that they should ban new video games for like a year to give
Well,
everybody a chance to catch up. Just
I don't
give everybody a chance.
I think if
No
you
new.
were gonna ban games for a time period to catch up, it would have to be like 300 years, but I don't know if a year's enough. So,
It'll give people a little bit of a chance, but that's always my joke. That's my joke. Ban new games for a year.
yep, that'll
Give
happen.
people a chance. Yeah, it'll never happen. I mean, there are some years though where just nothing good comes out. So
It means something good came out for someone, probably.
that's true. That's another thing I always talk about is like when I'm playing, I try not to be like extra critical, especially when I'm like playing casual games, of games because you never know like is this somebody's favorite game?
Hmm.
Like it could be anything. Like I've played some of the worst games that I've ever played, and people will come in and be like, "Oh, I loved playing this game when I was a kid," and I'm just like, "Oh, okay, that's good. Like this game is pretty terrible, but I respect you for enjoying it."
Yeah, like you can like Sunshine. You're wrong, but you can like it.
You can play Pugsy for hundreds of hours. I'm wrong for that, but you know.
Yeah, you do you. That's the beauty. But
Hmm.
I'm allowed to have my opinions on things that I've played too, you know?
Yep, exactly.
Um, to touch on more on the streaming aspect, so you said you've been doing it for, I guess, like 16 years
For,
now, if you brought up Justin TV.
yeah, forever. Yeah. I started on well, I made an account on Justin TV. I think I may have done like one or two streams there. I made an account there, just to lock in a username and that kind of thing. And then actually, the first time I ever streamed was I had a friend. I have a real life friend, and he like had this group of friends online, and one of them had a website, and he does like translations for Japanese games, like mostly Japanese RPGs on SNES. His name's Kuoshi, and he was pretty big in the translation scene and everything, but he had a website and he like basically found a way to relay like an IRC chat and everything into the website, but also stream to the website by basically embedding his Justin TV like stream key and everything over into it. So we all used to like stream on his website, and we would have like a 2 hour block or whatever every day. So that's how I got
Hmm.
into streaming. So that's why, like I said, I've never streamed to nobody because like I had that built in audience in that. And then I came to Twitch. I think the first time I ever did a Twitch stream was when Super Meat Boy came out. I
Mm.
was really into that game. So I believe that my first stream on Twitch ever was Super Meat Boy. Um, and yeah, so I streamed off and on and off and on. Um, in 2017. 2017 sounds right. Would be 9 years ago. 2017, I got laid off from a job, and I
Mm.
started like full time streaming then. Um, and I did that for like 3 years, 3 or 4 years, where I streamed full time. I went back to work, um, and kind of like slowed down on streaming a little bit. Um, and then last year, I had some health issues. I have like an issue with my hip that basically has taken me out of work again. So basically, since like this time last year, maybe a little bit after like April of last year, I've been full time streaming again. So that's been kind of what I do now. And so like my streaming plans for now are I do N64 challenge a few days a week. And I'm doing that completely random draw. So there's no telling like what is coming up next. Like right now I'm playing Paper Mario, which it's the first time I ever played Paper Mario. It's a pretty cool game. It was kind of convenient that I randomly drew that right before Mario Day, so I started
Hmm.
that on the 9th, conveniently.
It was meant to be.
Um, but before that I had to play 2 sports games, so
Hmm.
there's a lot of that. So I do that like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, depending on the game that I'm playing. Like I basically try to get through a game every week. If it's shorter games, then obviously I can get through more than one. Like if it's sports games, then those are usually one stream games. Um, I do that a couple nights a week, and then like I've been working on. I'm doing a hardcore character on Diablo 2, with the new expansion that came out, 25 years after the game released. So
Hmm.
that's been pretty cool. And then I do 1 or 2 nights a week of Kaizo Mario. So right now I'm playing through the Hack Invictus.
Mm.
Um, and then yeah, at some point I'll probably mix some speed running into that and everything. But I'm just pretty much streaming as much as I can, just trying to knock out little projects and knock out backlog stuff along the way as well. Just doing what I can. It's a lot of fun. I love streaming, so
So you've been fairly consistently doing it for like at least 15 years?
like on and off. Yeah,
Okay.
basically 2011, maybe even before that. When did I have to look now. I have to figure out when I created my account. Uh, let's see here. When did I create my account? My account was created on November 14th of 2010.
Hmm.
So,
Damn.
yeah, 16 years.
It's
It's been
impressive
a
to
while.
have been streaming that long.
Yeah, definitely.
Not many make it that far.
No, I'm stubborn, so I just keep coming back to
That's fair.
it. And that's what I think that most speedrunners, especially speedrunners that like stick with certain games and that kind of thing, are probably stubborn as well, because you
Well,
need a
no
little
need
bit
to
of
call
that
me out like that. But it's true.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, so I just, I've done a lot of stuff for charity and everything. That's like the one thing I try to like pride myself on, is that if you have a platform, like Twitch, and anybody's watching and that kind of thing, try to do something bigger than just yourself. So like I've done tons of charity events. I basically every month will have like a different charity that I'm trying to raise money for.
Hmm.
Like the big thing that I have going on right now is with my N64 challenge. I'm giving people the option that they can donate to whatever charity it is that I'm doing for the month. They can donate to it, and they can put the money towards a bid war. And the bid war is for the game that I play very last in the challenge.
Hmm.
And the 2 game options are Mario 64 or Superman 64.
Oh
So
my god.
people can donate to charity to either have me play what a lot of people think is the best game on the console last, or what a lot of people think is the worst game on the console last. But either way, those 2 games will be the last 2 games that I play. Um, so there's like another, I think I have another 320 something games to get through before I get to that point. But you know, one way or the other, I will hopefully raise some money for some good causes along the way, and we will end the challenge with a good time either way, right? Like
Something like that.
Superman will be fun, right? There's no way it could be as bad as the angry video game nerd says. He's never 100% right about games being bad. I don't think that Superman is the worst game on the console, though. I feel like
Mm.
I've already played games worse than it.
Oh,
So
there's only one way to know for sure.
yeah, that's true. I'm rating all the games as I go and everything. So
But yeah, you should have a bid war for the screen size.
someone else suggested
Yeah,
that.
I bet.
Yeah, you can play it at really tiny. I wonder if, because I have a retro tank, I wonder if like I can put it down to that really small size, but then stretch the screen on my end so that I can actually see what's going on. I wonder.
Hmm,
I
I
might
think
have to
that's
mess around with that.
cheating.
Nobody has to know. I didn't definitely just say what my plan was right now.
Hmm. Doesn't like the HUD say the same size or something though? So
Yeah,
like
I have
it
no idea.
kind of
I have no
obvious.
idea. I didn't know that that was a thing that you could do until recently. I can't remember if was it in the GDQ?
Yeah,
Was that where I
it
saw
was
it?
a recent.
Okay.
That's why this idea wasn't original because they had a bid war for the screen size. 20% one, of
Okay.
course. And yeah, I forget which event it was. I think it was some one of them last year. But
The game I've heard though that the game runs better at
yes,
the
it runs better
smaller
at
size.
smaller.
Yeah.
But is it a sacrifice you're willing to make is the question.
Yeah, 20% is pretty small.
but
I don't know.
but yeah, it's a game that exists. But
Yep.
it was
Like
fun.
many games that exist.
It was fun to watch in Awful Block or whatever block it was in
Yeah.
because I forget exactly which event it was. But yep, that was a thing. Um, well, back to the streaming side of things because I know there is a particular goal being attempted at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, there is. I'm getting pretty close to being able to apply for partner. I'm one stream away basically from being able to apply for partner, which this will be the third time that I've applied for partner once that opens up. But yeah, I just need one more day at 75 average, and I get to apply for that. So um,
That's pretty
that's kind of
huge, I think.
it's kind of cool. It's just been a long time coming, you know. There's been a lot
Yeah,
of
I mean,
things
it'd be
I've
cool to
I
hit it after like, a decade and a
oh
half of streaming.
right. You know, I don't I say like I've streamed that long. I didn't really like take it seriously or actually care about it until about 8 years ago,
Yeah,
seven
I mean
years
it's still
ago.
doing it, so but yeah.
Yeah. So and like I said, like I've had breaks in between and that kind of thing. But yeah, every partner push that I've ever done has always ended in burnout. So I'm like
Ah.
really trying hard, and that's why I started the N64 challenge because my problem that I was running into before was just like always doing the same thing and like getting stuck in that like pigeonholing yourself into one thing. And I don't really play a lot of video games off stream. Like I use my spare time to stream. So like
Mhm.
outside of World of Warcraft, I don't really play anything off stream. Um, but for a while there, like I would, there was one time where I got really close to getting partner where I was doing nothing but speedrunning Pugsy. And then there was
Mhm.
another time where, strangely enough, I got really close to getting partner when I was doing nothing but playing Apex Legends.
Mm.
So, um, like, I've done that where I pigeonholed myself into one thing and then gotten burned out on the grind. So that's like why I decided to do this console challenge so that like no matter what, if I decide like I want to play a certain game for a little while, like I can play it, I can focus on it or whatever, but then like I have this challenge that I'm doing, so I always have something to like fall back on. Like where if I'm just getting absolutely burned out, then I can go do this. Or if I'm getting burned out on playing N64 games and looking at low poly stuff for months on end, I can take a break from doing the N64 challenge. I can always come back to that and I can play something else for a little bit. So that's
Mhm.
why I feel like this time that I'm getting close to partner is a little bit different than other times in the past because of that. Because I just have so many different little projects and things that I'm working on to like keep myself from burning out.
Mm. And the challenge is a good idea because probably the challenge itself brings in viewers and you're constantly getting new content out of that. Like it's not the same thing over and over.
Yeah, it's not the same thing over and over again. It's definitely nostalgia bait for a lot of
Mhm.
people, especially like people of my age. Um, like N64. like Genesis was my first console that I ever got, but I think N64 was like the console that I really got like the most into when I was a kid. Um, and then like a big reason, like I had touched on earlier, a big reason I decided that I would do N64 versus another console is like during that time period when I had an N64, like my games were going missing, my console would go missing, this and that. And so like I got to play a lot of games, but I would never get to finish a game. There were very few games that I actually finished on the N64. So
Now you
the
can
challenge is
finish
like
them all.
I can finish them all. Nobody can stop me.
Take that. Oh.
So that's the big reason why I'm doing the N64. And then like now people have been asking me like, what are you gonna do after N64? And
Hmm.
I think I might. I mean, it's probably going to be another 2 or 3 years before I finish N64. But after N64, I think I might do Sega Saturn just because
Ooh.
that feels like another like really underappreciated library. I've heard there's a lot of cool, interesting stuff on that console, so that might be something that I do in the future. I don't know. Just
Years of content planned,
yeah, years and years and years. I plan on doing it until I can't do it anymore.
Well, we can always hope that's not for a while.
Yep.
I don't know when the human hands finally give way after speedrunning, but I hope to never find
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Speedrunning is hard on the hands, but I played Melee for like
Ah,
12 years also competitively, and
you
that's
built
way
up the
worse on the
strength.
hands.
Yeah.
That was way worse on the hands. So really the only thing that I play now that like really bothers my hands is Kaizo Mario. Like that's
Mm,
like it's a hard like I do 1 day a week of that and I won't do more than that because it is brutal on the hands.
yeah, I can imagine. That's a lot of like turning around, D-pad inputs, precision timing. I,
Holding your controller in a weird way so that you can hit certain buttons and everything.
mm,
Do regrabs and that kind of thing. You know, the regrab the thing that nobody actually knows what it is.
yeah. It's a it's a time that I hope to never have to do myself. I'll watch I'll watch people hate their lives. I'm good. Guys, it's not for me. I've done a little bit of not Mario World, but like some other Mario's as a taste.
Hmm.
I don't see myself pursuing that career path personally, but it's worked out well for others. Um, I think I've kind of gone over everything. Sounds like.
Yeah,
I mean, is there anything we haven't touched on?
I don't think so. I think we've pretty much covered. You know,
We did it. It's good.
why I speedrun, why how I got into it, all that. Yep.
Yeah, we've we've hit all the bullet points. That's good. Mean it means I've done my job well, I guess. Which my job is to sit down and be quiet. So I'm pretty good at that.
I'm kind of good at that too.
Eh? I mean, you're worse at it than me because you did most of the talking today and seem to be actually streaming well. So you can sit down and yap well. You can take that as
It's
you will.
probably it was probably the energy drink that I had before this. It's probably the only reason I had
Yeah.
the ability to do it.
You see, I actually work Sunday mornings like super early and I never get good
Oof.
sleep because I don't work Saturday. So I just have slept in that night before, so I'm up late. So I'm just
Yeah.
tired every time I do these episodes now. But I had a nice caffeine drink myself, so it
Yeah.
really gets the job done.
Yeah, the time that we're wrapping this up around right now is usually the time I'm like crawling out of bed. So
Yeah,
this is a
that
little.
used to be me, and then I got a job that starts at 7:30 a.m. 5 days a week, and yippee!
Ew.
Yippee! I know it's great. And you wonder why I haven't streamed much in the past year. Hmm.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I literally before we started, I was like, I haven't seen him live in a while. Did I accidentally unfollow or something?
No,
And then I looked and I was like, no, you just haven't been streaming.
I'm
So
just lazy, but also tired of a lot of
yeah,
things and a lot of
I
reasons. And yeah, it's great.
yeah, I
I
know when I was working full time too. Like I would want to stream,
Oh, I
but
don't
then I
work
would
full
get home
time,
from
just to
work.
clarify. It's part
Oh,
time.
well, even part-time, like I would work and then I would like get home and it's like, do I want to sit down and stream? And then I'm like, no, I
No,
just kind of want to sit down and do nothing,
that's
like
me.
nothing at all. So I
Yeah,
definitely understand that.
but I do have to lock in because PAX East is in a couple weeks, and I have to do a speed run that I've not done in a long time. So it's lock in time. I got to get off my ass and actually do that.
Well, that'll be fun.
So I'm hoping I will at least be consistent for the next couple weeks, and then hopefully, if that goes well, my brain will be like, keep doing that, and then I'll be back and it'll be cool. But if
Yep.
nothing else, at least I've had this to be consistent at every week. So it
Yeah.
hasn't been zero. I just the the
I,
gaming has, and I've still been casually gaming, obviously, but
hmm
yeah, the speedruns have not been my in the front of my mind recently, but now it has to be.
Yeah.
So hopefully I will lock in. That's
Well,
what needs to happen.
I'm glad you at least have that to look forward to. That's something, some motivation.
hmm Yeah, motivation's very important. Like I'm sure, obviously you would know with being so close to a huge milestone for the stream. That's got to be
Hmm
pretty big. So
Yeah.
helps keep the grind going.
Yep, for sure.
So always find ways to keep yourself motivated because I'm bad at that. But
hmm
it's
Same.
important as we can say. But yeah, I guess that's everything. Guess we're done here. So, the last thing I'll have you do is self-promote however you would like as I hit this button.
Nice. Yeah, it's my self promotion. If you enjoy um Nintendo 64 stuff or you enjoy streamers that do everything, I have both of those things going
Yeah.
on. Like I said, I kind of break it up, and I never really stick to one genre. I kind of play everything, whether it be retro or modern. I've always said this about myself. I enjoy video games. I enjoy all video games, and like one of the most exciting things, like when I was growing up and everything, was just seeing how like gaming has evolved over time. So as much as I like to like go back and play some older stuff to look at like where we've come from, I also do a lot of modern stuff as well to just kind of keep an eye on like where gaming is going and everything. So
Mhm. I actually have an
if you
incredibly similar mindset to that. I I'll play games from all kinds of time periods because I just love the progression. Like I don't have a PS2 yet, but I have like all PlayStations. Like
hmm
even if they're backwards compatible, I don't care. I just like I like the hardware evolution too. So that's
hmm
big. Like I have all the Nintendo consoles minus I don't know the Wii U because who fucking cares? But
Whoa,
sorry, but like
the Wii U deserves some love. There's some video games on it that are good.
yeah, and they're all on the Switch now.
Yeah, it's true. I used to be like, oh well, you can't get Wonderful 101 on anything else, and now you can. So
Yeah, like
I guess I can't even use that anymore. You can play 3D World. Everything is
mhm.
on Switch. Yep.
Yeah, 3D World was its last saving grace. Once that moved to Switch, I sold my Wii U. I was like, I don't need it anymore. It's dead. Nintendo wants to forget it. I will too. It's fine.
Yeah, they really do want to forget it, erase it.
Yeah, but I have every other Nintendo console, quite literally. So that's good.
Yep.
Obviously I
If
just play the one, but I have the others.
But
We'll
yeah,
get
that's
there.
that's it. That's my stream. It's a little bit of everything,
Oh yeah, we were
and
talking about you. I kind of ruined that. Anyway.
that's okay. Speed running stuff will, like I said, I, I will probably try to get something ready for a submission for SGDQ at least. Just because I really enjoyed when I went in 2024. I enjoyed Minneapolis. It was fun, but my wife didn't get to go, so I want to
Mhm.
go again.
Oh, is
At
that
a
the only
time
time
where
you went to GDQ?
that's my only time I've ever been. Well, I also went to 20 what was it? 2018 GDQX at
Oh,
TwitchCon.
okay. Yeah.
That was when I did commentary for Boix, so
Okay.
I was kind of there for that. But yeah, that was the only
Not
time.
quite the same
Not
thing,
all,
yeah.
not only was that the only time I've ever been to a GDQ in 2024, it's the first time I've ever flown in my entire life,
Oh,
and I
wow.
had to do it alone, and it was a
Ah.
red eye. Um, and the
Mhm.
way there it was 2 flights, and the way back it was 3 flights.
Oh, no.
And
Oof.
yes, I've never flown before in my life, and I had to do it alone. And now I love to fly. Flying is so
Oh,
cool.
okay, cool. Because I thought that was
Yeah.
going the other way.
No, no. Like I was deathly afraid of it, and I had to. Like I'm like I got this run in. I cannot drive from California to Minnesota. Like there is no other option. So
I
I have
see.
to fly. I have to do this, and my wife couldn't go with me, so I had to do it alone. And like after the first flight, I was like, okay, this fucking rules. Like you just get in the plane and you sit down, and then it goes places really fast, and
Yeah.
it's
And you get
it's
some cool
awesome.
views.
Yeah, you get some cool views, and then like the following year we went to Vegas, and I'm like, we're not driving to Vegas, we're gonna fly. Like it's only a 45-minute flight from here, and it's just it saves so much time, and
Yeah.
it's great. Flying is awesome. So if you're watching this and you're afraid of flying, don't be afraid of flying. It rules.
Yeah. Although, um, I think there's a thing as too much, which is where I've fallen into because I've probably flown like over 15 times now because I've been to 10 GDQs, and actually I probably flown like over 20 times to different events at this point. And it gets old eventually,
Yeah.
especially with the security and the all, delays
Yeah.
and weather possible impacts. And yeah,
I've I've been lucky. The few times I've flown, I've never had a delay or a cancellation. Security was always quick and easy for me. Like it was like
well,
I guess I
lucky
got lucky
you.
that I had like the perfect. Probably the worst thing was when I was flying back from GDQ. I had a layover that was longer than it would have taken me to drive from LA to where I live.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
yeah. I could have just like drove home in that time, but
Don't
I just
don't have your
sat at
cars.
I just sat at the airport bar for the entire time until it was ready for me to take my short little 30-minute flight or whatever it was.
Mm. Well, yep, just never get unlucky. I have been very unlucky with a lot of my flights, so just don't have that happen to you, and I guess you won't have my issue.
Yep.
Uh anyway, I have to fly in like 1.5 weeks, as
Well,
always.
hopefully I'll pass on my flight luck to you. No delays or anything. It's going to be the perfect
Yeah,
flight, the
it's
best
like
flight
at
you ever
5
had.
a.m. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be a really nice person who sits next to you and they want to buy you a beer or something. Like it's gonna be perfect.
I don't like beer.
Oh, never mind.
So
They
if
will
that
not buy
happens.
you a beer.
Oh,
They
okay,
will.
thank God. Oh, trip saved. Anyway, what were we doing? Leaving, I think.
Yep, I think we're done.
Okay, cool. Thanks for watching.
And thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, thank you for coming on. I'm a professional. I'm good at doing this. But yeah, now it's done and we can do other things like watch more episodes on YouTube, right? That's what we all do. Yeah. Okay.
Watch every single one.
Watch all 160. Good luck. Speaking of never running out of content, I mean, there we go. All right. I'm clicking the button. Bye.
See ya.